All right, we're recording. All right, everybody, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for today's session. Quick win email tips that work with Jay Schwedelson. Before we get into that, I'd like to ask, what's new in HubSpot? And if you're a HubSpot user, you're probably saying a lot and always, because as you know, there's always a constant stream of updates throughout that software. In fact, did you know that there's been 23 updates in HubSpot just this month, and we're only halfway through, so they're just constant, which is awesome because there's always new tools and features to use, but it can also be challenging as a marketer to keep up with it all. So we thought, as the HubSpot user group, we'd take some time at the beginning of each of our event agendas, just 5 minutes, to just highlight something cool, new, useful in HubSpot. And since our last meeting, there's been like a groundbreaking announcement from HubSpot that they've released a new hub, Content Hub. It's all in one. It's AI powered. It helps marketers create and manage content at scale. It's loaded with new features. Clearly, I'm very excited about it. If anybody else is testing out Content Hub or have onboarded onto it and is using it, played around with some of the new tools that are in beta, please share in the comments if you like it or not. But here's why I'm so excited about it. In marketing, especially content marketing, inbound marketing, things are moving really fast and the demands are growing, especially to create unique, valuable, high quality content. And it's not just the amount, right? It's also there's multiple formats that you need to use. There's multiple channels that you need to be marketing on. And it can be a lot, especially if you're a marketing team of one. So that's where HubSpot's come to the rescue once again with Content Hub. And basically what it does is it takes some of the tools that you're probably using as a content marketer, such as ChatGPT, and it form fits them into your HubSpot portal for creating content. So this means it's not really as much about getting good at prompts for AI. This is all done for you in the tool. So as I mentioned, it's loaded with new stuff. I wish I had more time to tell you more about it, but because we've got this amazing presentation lined up, I just wanted to take basically enough time for one quick demo. So I wanted to show you, I had to pick my favorite, which was really hard. It's like, I don't even have kids, but I feel like this is like picking your favorite child. And I'd like to show you Content Remix. Just walk through a quick demo of what this tool can do because I'm extremely impressed by it and I feel like it's a giant time saver. So Content Remix, just one of the tools in Content Hub. To use this, you just navigate to the tool inside your HubSpot portal, go ahead and click on Start Remixing. You add your content. So for this, you can use blog posts, site pages, landing pages, existing content, or start from scratch. For this, I just came up with a quick landing page. I also used AI to create it. Then you can add in your landing page here. It'll pull it in. Click Add Content. There's our landing page, and you see this little plus at the bottom. This is where the exciting part comes in. This is where we start remixing. So you hit the plus, and you can see there's up to 6 different content types that you can create from this one landing page. So there's some really cool stuff in here, but for today's example, we're just going to use an image, a blog post, and an email. Go ahead and click Next. Now it's going to ask you to refine these inputs a little bit. So for your image, you can select from one of these preset styles, which there's really a lot in here. We'll just let AI decide. You can choose the dimensions. Sometimes you need a square, landscape, whatever it is to fit your purpose. Then it goes down to your blog. So you choose the blog that it's going to go to, give it a short description, tell it how long you want your blog post. We'll go with medium, which is the default. You can have it create an image for the post itself. And then for our email, you just choose your email template. Then go ahead and click generate. And this thing starts remixing. And basically what it's doing is it's taking your landing page using AI and creating new content for it. Oh, we had something go wrong here, of course, when it goes live. But generally, this will produce a blog post, email, and image. And then what you can do is go to view all content, and it'll allow you to refine the AI output, which is always a good idea if you're using AI in your marketing, is to just go back and put your own spin and your own voice on it. And just a quick shout out to another Content Hub new tool, Brand Voice. you can set inside of HubSpot, add your mission and some writing examples, and it will capture your brand voice in an AI format. And then you can take this email that it just created for you and you can say, I don't really like this intro. It's not our brand voice. Just highlight it, select the button there, and use brand voice, and it'll apply it and rewrite that for you. So it's really cool. The other piece that's really awesome about this is, as marketers, we're not usually doing campaigns like this one-off. It's probably every week that we're doing it for some of us. You can save a remix format like this and say, I'm going to start out with a handcrafted landing page, but every time I'm going to want an image, I'm going to want the blog post and the 3 emails to promote it, and apply it to that template. So it's really pretty amazing. I'm very impressed with it, and that's just the quick demo there. Oops. So just also, this is available, Content Hub, in case you're wondering, how do I get this? It's available as a standalone hub, but in my opinion, one of the most exciting features for it is to be bundled with the Marketing Plus bundle. So if you are a user of Marketing Hub Pro, you can add on the new Content Hub and all these tools that are included with it for an additional fee. So it's really pretty exciting. And because this is such a big announcement for HubSpot and for us, we're going to do our next event on it. So if you're interested in it, please keep an eye out for that. And also, if you have specific questions about Content Remix or Content Hub or any of the tools that are involved with it, please feel free to put your questions in the chat, and then Jess will grab those. And if we have time at the Q&A, we can get to some of those answers. We've also Growth Spurt, which is today's event sponsor. We are a HubSpot partner, and we can help you get the best price possible on Marketing Hub Plus and Content Hub. So if you're interested in this, interested in learning more, if you want to see all the exciting features, please just reach out. Jess will drop our contact information into the chat. So now, the reason we're all here, today's presentation, quick win email tips that work. We have an amazing speaker lined up for you today. He's the founder of subjectline.com. He's the president and CEO of Outcome Media. He's the founder of Guru Media Hub. He's the host of the awesome Do This, Not That marketing podcast, a must listen if you haven't yet. He's legendary inbound speaker, and he's just an all-around good guy, in my opinion. Jay Sweetelson. Jay?
Oh, awesome. What an intro. I need to take you everywhere I go. That's amazing. I'm going to tell my
man.
kids you said all that. Seriously, hype man. I'm fired up to be here. And, thanks for all, it's hard to carve out time in your day. So I'm going to share my screen. I feel like that's the time to do it, right? We're in that part of the show here. So I'm going to share my screen. Can you all see that just fine?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I want to rip through.
Oh, Jay, I think you've been muted. Hold on a second.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes,
hello. Amazing. I was saying that you're amazing for hyping me up, and then I started talking, and I'm a big doofus, but now we got it straight. We're on our way. This is going to be fantastic. So thank you for being here. I know it's hard to carve out time of your day, but we're going to rip through so many things that are changing in the world of email, new tactics, new stuff. And anybody that ever says, email is dead or it's just old and legacy, they are just not trying. Okay. And so, I talk really fast. For those of you who have never been, involved with my universe, I can't shut up. It's what I do. And what you have here on the screen is irrelevant. Who cares what I do for a living? I just want to share with you where my data comes from that I'm going to go through. So, I do have an agency called Outcome Media. We're about 100 or so people in South Florida. We don't just do email. We're a demand gen agency. We do email, direct mail, podcast advertising, digital media. But in the world of email, we transmit about 6 billion email messages a year for our clients, business and consumer. And then we have a research group that aggregates all of this and then all the other stuff on the screen. Who really cares? That's just what I do. All right, so let's jump into what's going on. I love that you broke down Content Hub and all the powers of AI. And I want to just dig into a little bit about a change that happened with ChatGPT that I think that marketers are sleeping on, that happened about 3 weeks ago. Okay, that I think for email specifically is so cool. So in ChatGPT, before 3 weeks ago, you would have to pay to get access to ChatGPT, their 4.0 large language model. Okay, but 3 weeks ago they changed the free version of ChatGPT. So now if you go to ChatGPT, when you go to the same version, you see something new there. You see this little upload image button, right? And what you can do with your email marketing. So you can make a beautiful thing in your content hub or anywhere else in HubSpot or any other platform, doesn't matter. Okay. You take a screenshot of any email now. You couldn't do this before 3 weeks ago. It's free. Okay. You upload that screenshot right there in the ChatGPT. And so I took this image and I uploaded this email into ChatGPT. Nice email. Who cares? Whatever. And then I wrote this prompt. I wrote, I'd like you to review the following email marketing message and provide back actionable feedback on how to improve it. Please consider elements like clarity, engagement, call to action effectiveness, overall persuasive power. Additionally, provide at least 5 very specific critiques and test ideas I could try based on what you find from this email specifically, and also provide suggestions for improving the subject line. And I put in the subject line. All right. And then that's it. It does its thing. And then what it does, and again, this wasn't available 3 weeks ago, and I don't work for ChatGPT. I just think it's cool and it's free and it's fast. It gives me back this. I mean, if I was an email marketing consultant, I would be scared, because what it gave me back is like bananas on point, specific to my email, calling out every little issue it saw and then exactly how it would change it specific to my email. And this is all image based. You're not uploading copy and whatever. You're literally just taking a screenshot. You could do it on your phone and upload the image, and you get this back instantly. It is a game changer. So if you're not messing around with the upload image functionality in ChatGPT, I think you're missing out on something that's really cool and different that's going on. All right. So putting aside all the AI stuff, what are things that we're seeing that are working really well right now that maybe marketers are sleeping on a little bit, which is this idea of don't be boring. All right. If you look at the bottom part of this slide, okay, you have this words on the left and words on the right, on the bottom. Who cares what they say? It's irrelevant what they say. Okay. But which one would you rather engage with? Would you rather engage with the paragraph on the left, on my left, or the one on the right, the long or the short one? Obviously, most people are going to say, I want to engage with the short one, right? Because visually, it doesn't feel boring. You ever get a text message from like a family member or whatever, and it's like a text bomb, and you're like, I don't have time to read that. I will read that later because that is drama. I don't have time for the drama. Well, when you get an email that has like a bunch of words, you don't say, I'll read it later. You say, I'm never going to read this. This looks terrible. So what we found is that when you have an email that has blocks of text in 3 lines versus 5 lines, 3-line blocks of text get a click-through rate increase by 21% because visually you're boring. Okay. And that's when we have to overcome. And marketers will be like, but no, I have so much to say about this amazing webinar. Nobody cares. Nobody's going to read it. Nobody cares about anything. And that's what we have to get through in our head, that these little things, when you say, oh, we send out this thing, we must have a bad speaker for our webinar, or this new piece of content's not good, or this sale stinks. No, you just were too verbose and nobody read your email because it stinks. Another thing that we're seeing, we all know that social proofing is everything, right? We know that using a social proof anywhere will generate strong results. But one area that we're seeing now that we weren't seeing before is actually writing your subject line, your email subject line, fully as a testimonial. Literally taking your testimonial and making that your subject line. That's it. Nothing else. Not saying check out our great software or do X, Y, and Z. It's taking the testimonial and then making that your subject line. And we are seeing this increase open rates by about 21% for offer related emails when you're trying to get that demo booked or that trial thing or whatever it may be. Because all we want to know when we are trying to think about should we buy the thing, subscribe to the thing, download the thing, is did somebody else try it and do it? You never want to be the first one ever. Oh my God, I would never do that, right? So when you instantly see, oh, somebody else thinks that this has robust analytics and insightful reports, great. I will now check that out. So if you haven't tested your subject line being a testimonial, and yes, include the emoji, don't even get me started. It is a win. It is a win. Have you ever heard somebody talk so fast about anything? It's terrible. It's unbelievable. Yes, I am like 3 Celsius deep. What time is it? 11:20 where I am. That can't be good for me. Anyway, okay. A lot of times when your email's going south, right? You're like, wait a minute. Do we have a deliverability problem? Why are we going to the junk folder? Why are we going to the spam folder? I'm calling up HubSpot because something is wrong. No, you don't have a deliverability problem. You have an engagement problem. Here's, by the way, newsflash. I don't care if you are the NFL, if you are HubSpot, if you are the biggest companies on the planet, some of your emails will go to the junk folder and spam folder. That is the way the internet works. Nobody has 100% deliverability to the inbox, period, end of story, right? So why I say you have an engagement problem is that the only way to stay in the inbox, it's not to avoid words like free or nonsense like that. That's a lie from 1984. You can use whatever words you want to use. The way you stay in the inbox is by generating engagement. And there's something that marketers do that is a failure that we're all doing that is ruining our engagement. Okay. The first time you email somebody, let's say you got their name at a trade show. Let's say they downloaded something from you. Let's say they signed up for a discount code on your site. Let's say they signed up for a piece of content. And now you're emailing that person for the very first time from your sending infrastructure to their receiving infrastructure, that first email. Now, if the person then receives that first email and they do nothing, they don't open it, they don't click on it, they do nothing, what you are telling your infrastructure is, hey, I don't know who this sender is. I don't care about them. And when they send their next email, just throw it in junk because who cares? Okay. But if you do open up that first email you get from a new sender and you click on it, you engage in it, what you're telling your email system is, hey, I like this new sender. They're awesome. Keep them in my inbox, please. That is what you're saying from a technical perspective. And the fail that we are doing as a marketer is we think that that first email is a receipt. Thank you for doing the thing. Thank you for signing up. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for getting the discount code. Thank you for visiting our booth. We treat it like a receipt. That is a failure. Getting the first email clicked on to a new recipient will increase the likelihood of staying in that person's inbox by 85%. Okay? That is the game changer. We need to get that email, that first one, engaged with. It is not thank you. It is anything that we can do to get them to engage with that email. So it's pest control and ... What? What is it? Do I have rats? That would be terrible. You're in and ... What? What do I get? We're on it, but thank you. Special discount inside. Welcome VIP just for you. I don't care what you do. You got to get that first email engaged with. That is how you win long term. So we have to stop thinking about that first email as a receipt. Oh my God, I'm all over the place. So speaking about email deliverability, I stay in the inbox, all this nonsense. Everyone's like, the deliverability stuff out there is so annoying. It's you lose your mind. And who understands half of it? I don't. All right. So people are like, well, how do I know? How do I know how many bots I got? How do I know how much garbage is in my tracking report? And anybody that gives you a firm answer that you could tell exactly how is lying. There is no exact way to know, but I'll give you a secret sauce way, okay, of finding out kind of like a baseline of how much garbage, fake bots you have in terms of tracking in your tracking reports, okay? If you send out an email to your database at 3 a.m. in the morning, okay, and you isolate out the metrics for the first 30 minutes after you send it out at 3 a.m., how many opens and clicks and blah, 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 blah. When you get opens and clicks in those first few minutes that email hits at 3 in the morning, you are not that popular at 3 in the morning. I hate to break the news to you. You're just not that popular, right? So in the first 30 minutes, whatever that baseline traffic that you saw, I got a 12% open rate and I got a 0.5% click-through rate. That is garbage, okay? And then when you go back into your tracking report, like, all right, I know this is sort of inflated by X. And that's how you win, right? You want to fool yourself and say, okay, yeah, I got a 52% open rate. Have a good time. It's garbage, doesn't mean anything. But at least this way you have a kind of a back of the napkin way to know how much of it is bot traffic. So it's kind of fun to try that out. Let's talk about webinars. They're super fun, right? Oh my God. Webinars are like the end of the universe. Irony is you're on one right now. But seriously, webinars are tough and they're getting tougher, right? They're getting tougher. And are they ever going to bring this show back, Severance? What a great show. They need season 2. I need to know what happened. Why am I the only one who cares about this show? Anyway, so creating webinar urgency. So a lot of us use webinars for our content offers. The problem is, in all of our other marketing that we do, we try to do FOMO, fear of missing out, right? Have you ever had fear of missing out on a webinar? Like ever? No, right? Because why would you? Nobody fears missing out on a webinar. They fear having to actually attend a webinar. But there are things that you can do that'll actually get people to fear missing out on the webinar. And is this idea, we've been testing this a ton, this idea of speed to register. Okay, speed to register. It is increasing email open rates by over 40%. So imagine you get this email, right? The first 100 to register get the pitfall to avoid tip sheet. Like, ooh, I want that. Or only the first 100 to register get on-demand access. Like, oh, I want that. Now, you may be there and saying, wait a minute, that's not fair, because what if I'm 101st person that registered? I want the on-demand access, and we have to be fair to everybody. Okay? Now, here's the game. Nobody ever knows how many people are signing up for your webinars or any of that stuff. So let's say you know that the greatest webinar you've ever done, we had 74 people register. Okay? So what you do is you say, only for the first 200 people that register get the on-demand access. Only for the first 200 people that get the pitfalls to avoid sheet. You make the number really high. So that way you're going to give it out to everybody. Now, is that wrong? I don't think so. It's called marketing. This is what we do. But believe it or not, this works really, really well. So you want to create that FOMO feeling for your webinars, because if you just want to play the game nicely, be like, webinar : we have this amazing speaker that you've never heard of, and we're going to cover these 7 things. Who cares? Nobody's putting that on their calendar. You need to do stuff to shake it up a little bit, and this is what's working. All right. Oh my goodness. Yes, and we'll definitely get all the slides because I talk way too fast, and I can't help myself. Anyway, let's get into this topic. The title is more important than your offer. What does that even mean? What that means is that we are failing again. Why do I keep saying we're failing? We're failing again in that we think that if we write the greatest piece of content, that people will want to consume it. That's not how it works. People want certain things and they don't want others. And the weird part is, what we are promoting is all very, very similar, but what we're naming it is what's holding back us getting a lot of leads, a lot of pipeline, a lot of interaction. So if I said to you right now, forget about what the topic of the content is. You could only pick one. You could pick you have to respond to one offer: a guide, an ebook, a report, or a white paper. Which one would you pick? Right? Which one would you pick? Now, me, okay, you're going to pick a report? Okay. Guide. What else? What else would everybody pick? I'm curious. Ebook. Oh, nice. You guys are very sophisticated. Guide. Okay, interesting. I agree. So here's why I say that. First of all, a white paper. I mean, seriously, who's read a white paper? Like, I don't even understand. I'm not smart enough to read a white paper. What does that even mean? A report sounds epically boring. Okay. And an ebook, nobody actually reads an ebook. It's not a thing. Like, you might download one, but you actually don't ever read it. Nobody actually does that. Note to self. A guide. Okay, guide. I'll check out a guide. Why does that matter? Because we did this whole thing. We took the exact same piece of content. A zillion times we did this. We called the same piece of content an ebook and a guide. And we found that a guide had a 28% higher download rate just because we called it guide. Now, you might say, but they're two different things. What are you talking about? Are you the content police? What is the difference between a guide and an ebook? That it has chapters? It's the same thing. This is called marketing, right? And this is how our stuff is either going to work or not work. You see the chat here. Everyone said guide. If it was called the ebook, nobody's downloading that. So when you're looking at your content, be like, can we call this thing something else? This sounds epically boring. Okay. The craziest thing to me is that people don't do an A/B test on the name of their offer, on the name of their content. They do an A/B test on the subject line, the time of day, the call to action buttons, the color of the call to action buttons. How about the name of the thing that you're actually promoting? Why don't we do that? Why don't we start with the basics? How about this? A checklist versus a cheat sheet. Which one would you rather download? Listen, I would not have gotten through high school without cheating. So I'm all in on a cheat sheet all day long, right? Cheat sheets for the win. We're like, okay, yeah, cool. Cheat sheet. I'm allowed to download. Let's go, right? And what is the difference between a checklist and a cheat sheet? Please, they are the same thing. You cannot convince me that they're any different. But again, you get a 32% higher download rate when you call it a cheat sheet. So thinking about what you're calling the stuff has a big impact on it getting consumed. How about the consumer side for all my consumer friends? You have to only pick one of these sales: a flash sale, a one day only sale, a 24-hour sale, or a limited time offer. Which one are you going to respond to? Now, this one's a little bit tougher, I think, right? Which one would you respond to? I'm curious. So in the chat, let's see. What would everybody respond to? Flash sale, flash sale. All right, flash sale, 24-hour, flash sale. See, that's interesting. And you know what? You're right, because that's what we found also. We found that a flash sale crushes it. A flash sale crushes a 24-hour sale. But we had to test this a million times to find this out. And so it's like you think you're doing the same thing, like, oh, we'll call it a 24-hour sale. No, it has an impact what you call it. So thinking about all this stuff really does matter. Okay. I get this question all the time. And it's a weird question because I think it's the wrong question. The question is, what is the best day to send the email? We all want to know, what's the best day to send the email? We got to figure it out. What's the best day? Now, I don't think it's the right question. The right question, in my opinion, is what is the best day to send this email? Why do I say that? What do I mean by this email? Look at this horrible slide. Is this not the ugliest slide you've ever seen in your life? This is wild. All right. When I say the best day to send this email, your mind is in a very different place on Monday than it is on Friday, right? On Monday, do you want to attend like an hour-long webinar, or do you want to go and buy something? No, you're broke. You spent too much money going out on the weekend. You have no money left to spend anything on Monday, so you're not responding to an offer. You don't want to attend a webinar because you're dreading being at work anyway, right? But on Friday, you're like, oh yeah, weekend's here. Let's go out. I got my paycheck. Let's roll. Or I want to better myself. I want to go attend a webinar, get smart today. Your mind's in a different place all week long. So when you're sending out your emails, it's what kind of email you're sending out and what is going on in the person's brain that week. So we look at all this. So for example, Monday and Tuesday, what we found is what you want to be sending out on Monday and Tuesday on the business side is what we call most content, which is our most read blog posts, our most read articles, our most listened to podcast episodes. People love most content on Mondays, and then your newsletter on Monday and Tuesdays. Okay, that is when your newsletter really, we see the highest performance. And on the consumer side, things like trends report, nothing offer related really, because no one's buying anything on a Monday or Tuesday. But then we move to Wednesday, we see sales format letter emails do best on Wednesdays, and then using Wednesdays to build up urgency for the end of week webinars. That's the best performing emails on the business side. On the consumer side, it's the exclusive email offer, which is always the weirdest offer to me. When you send out an email, an offer that this is exclusive only to email. I don't know why that works, but it works really, really well. And it's so weird to me, but it works really well on Wednesdays. Then Thursday and Friday hits, like, all right, we're cruising, we're getting to the weekend. And this is where we see people bettering themselves. Okay, on the business side, they're consuming like 101 content and guides. And this is actually the best 2 days for webinar attendance. Look where we are. Today's a Thursday, right? Thursday and Friday. On the consumer side, this is actually the best 2 days for sales performance of the entire week for actual sales. And then Saturday, on demand from the current week, podcast promo. And then Sunday is your newsletter resend. And this is actually your best day for consumer actual click-through. By the way, I just want to say something about your newsletter resend, because if there's one thing I think email marketers make the biggest mistake of is what they're doing with their newsletter. You work very hard to make your email newsletter. It's a pain in the butt. Okay. And every time you send it out, like, thank God we got it out. And then you have to do that. You have to do it again, right? It's the worst experience on earth. It's like root canal every week. So the mistake that marketers make is they send it out once, which makes no sense to me. People signed up for your newsletter. Please send me your newsletter. And then you send it out once. Okay. And they missed it. They scrolled past it. They're not waiting there in their inbox saying, please, when are they sending the newsletter? They didn't see it. Okay. And then what you want to do is, to everybody who didn't open up your newsletter, you send it again 2 days later or 3 days later. The same newsletter to everyone who didn't open it up. And then you write in the subject line, oops, you missed it. I think you scrolled past this. you might want to check this out. You make sure that that subject line speaks exactly to the fact that they missed the first one. Okay? Exactly to the fact that they missed the first one. So, and by the way, on average, it will lift your open rates on your overall newsletter by over 20% by doing the resend. And all you're doing is giving them the thing that they wanted. What did we accomplish here? All right. So I just shared with you a million different offers. And there's something else I think that everybody just needs to put into their brain about this year. Okay. All my agency clients have done something horribly ridiculous, which is everyone always says, oh my God, the second half of the year, we're going to crush it. We got our KPIs. Q4, we're going to blow it up. We're making all these numbers. It's going to be awesome. I'm sitting in all these meetings. I'm like, listen, dude, Q4 is going to be a hot mess. I could care less who anybody's voting for. I ain't going down that rabbit hole. Doesn't matter. Here's what I can tell you from all the data that we have for any presidential election year, especially when you know it's going to be a close election, what will happen starting end of September and into October before the November election. The amount of marketing noise that we are going to be getting texts from, emails from, radio ads, TV ads, smoke signals. I mean, the marketing that's going to be received by all of us from all parties, all things, is going to be bananas. Okay. And what we know from past presidential election cycles is it depresses the performance on almost all marketing channels, especially email, because what we all do, we don't realize it is, we're like, I can't. I don't even want to look at my inbox. I can't. I need to step away a little bit. And this is business and consumer. So if you've baked in that Q4 is going to be incredible, we're going to crush it, I think that you are living in a fantasy world, because this year it's going to be very tough to get the same level of engagement that you normally would get, which stinks. But you got to be real with yourself. Okay. Let's talk about a few other things. So, was it this week? Yeah, it was this week. This week, Apple had their worldwide developer conference, right? Yay, we're going to have to all buy new iPhones. Okay. So they had their worldwide developer conference, and in their worldwide developer conference, they announced iOS 18 that's going to be coming out this fall. It's out in beta right now, right? And so we all watched this, and one of the big things they announced, okay, is that the promotions tab is coming to Apple Mail, right? It is coming to Apple Mail. Now, some people say to me, but I don't use an Apple email address. That's not what I'm talking about. 46% of all email is checked using the Apple Mail app on your phone. It's the little blue icon on your iPhone. People open up and they look at mail. It has nothing to do with having an Apple email address. So when they update all of our phones in the middle of the night and we get annoyed about it in like a month or two, right? We will now have tabs in our email, and a promotions tab is one of them. Now, I think this is a great thing, but marketers are probably collectively throwing up about the promotions tab because our business emails, our consumer emails, they're going to go into different tabs. So here's what's going to happen. Apple is going to automatically categorize your emails upon receipt. They're going to go into a primary tab, a transactions tab, an updates tab, or a promotions tab, right? So when you sending out your email and saying, hey, download this new guide for HR pros or whatever, that's going in the promotions tab. That's where it's going. Okay. So we need to understand as marketers, what does this mean? Is this the end of the world? Should we no longer do email marketing? Should we all quit our jobs? And yes, no, that's not what's going on. Let's take a step back. And this is the moment of calm and peace. Gmail has had promotions tab for a really long time. Okay. And here's what we know from all the data. 50% of tab users in Gmail, okay, this includes business professionals because there's millions upon millions of business people use Gmail. And by the way, if you don't think Gmail matters to you and you're a business marketer, go in and check your database and see how many people have Gmail in your database, okay? So 50% of tabs users are reading their promotions tab daily. That means that 50% of the people that have tabs enabled are going in to read their tabs daily. Now, this is like when you go to the mall, right? When you go to the mall, you're not lost. You're not like, oh, I meant to get a car wash. I'm at the mall. No, that's not what happens. You go to the mall to buy something. You're in buying mode. You're like, what should I buy? When you go to the promotions tab, it's the same thing. You're not lost. You're not like, what should I click on? Oh, I'll click on this. What is this? No, You're going to the promotion tab because you're in buying mode, you're in shopping mode, you're in content download mode, right? So when they're in the right mindset. So we've seen no negative impact on response for emails that go in the promotions tab. So promotions tab is a good thing. So I don't think marketers need to freak out, but we do need to wire our brains to understand how are these changes to Apple Mail app going to be impacting our ongoing marketing. The biggest thing that we expect, and that from everything that we're kind of testing and beta and everything we're seeing, is email newsletters, if they come from the brand rather than a person in your organization, the likelihood of them staying in the primary tab goes very low if they are coming from a brand. If they come from a person and you develop a person as kind of the voice of that newsletter, there's a very, very high likelihood they stay in the primary tab. Right. So I think we're going to see more and more of these newsletters become from a person. And I do expect newsletter performance to surge because it's going to stand out from promotional email. Cold sale emails are going to struggle big time because there's a new bulk delete feature that's going to be in iOS 18. And so you're just going to be able to delete everything all at once from an annoying sender that does like the fake RE in the subject line. And then the new format that we are encouraging all of our clients to work on is what we're calling series content format. Part 1 of 5, part 2 of 5, part 3 of 5, because the new format within iOS 18, it has this roll up and stacking feature from a sender, and the series style content plays really nice for that. You read the first one, you go to the second one, you go to the third one. So this is a content format that we think is going to have a surge in performance as we head into the second half of the year. So that's super interesting. And by the way, Yahoo 2 days ago, this isn't in beta, this is live now. Yahoo changed Yahoo Mail. Again, a lot of business people use Yahoo Mail and whatnot. And they changed it. And this is the way it works now is they have a whole AI thing now where it's like scanning your emails and it's bucketing newsletters separately. So Yahoo now already has the tabs featured enabled. And that started 2 days ago. It's rolling out all over the place in the next, I think, 5 days. So that's a new change that happened this week. A few more AI things, and then I'll shut up. I promise. Okay. So nobody asked, and I love everything HubSpot's doing with their AI. To me, my number one favorite AI thing is Perplexity.ai. It's free. It's easy to use. It's just like ChatGPT or Gemini or the other ones. But the reason I like Perplexity more than any other ones is because when you ask it anything or you write a prompt in there, like when you write into ChatGPT, it gives you an answer, but it's like a black box. You're like, well, why is it saying that? When you write it into Perplexity, it's perplexity.ai, and I don't work for them. I don't care. This is free and it's cool. It has these little circles, and the little circles are the sources of the information. And you can click on the circle, it opens up a website with the source of the information for the thing that's telling you to do, which is very nice because at least that way you know what the hell's going on. So I'm super into that. So perplexity.ai. I also love Gemini from that used to be Bard for one specific reason. So if you go to gemini.google.com, again, it's free. It couldn't be easier to use. But what you could do on Gemini is it will summarize YouTube videos. So you could take any YouTube video. Let's say your company just did a webinar or whatever. You could take that YouTube video and go on to Gemini and say, hey, take this webinar, summarize it, turn it into a blog post with like 4 bulleted points, no more than 500 words and whatever. Or let's say there's a podcast you don't have time to listen to. You could say, hey, take this podcast and any statistic they said, please let me know what they were because that's all I care about, right? So summarization of YouTube videos in Gemini, in my opinion, is gold. It is the only place you could do this. You can't do this in Claude. You can't do it in ChatGPT. You can't do it on any of them. So only in Gemini can you do that. So I think it's pretty cool. And I'll tell you how I use AI in my regular life. I did this the other day. I don't know why I find it interesting, but maybe you will. Who knows? So I don't know why I wrote I was visiting Chicago for the first time. I wasn't visiting for the first time, but I wrote this prompt. I wrote, I'm visiting Chicago for the first time and staying at this hotel, and I gave the address. Can you please plan out a 4-day trip with things to do that are a mix of outdoor activities, cultural things that teenagers, because I have teenagers, won't get bored by, and restaurant recommendations that include deep dish pizza and a steakhouse. And also, can you put it all in the format, information into a table format, and show the distance from our hotel to each item listed, how long it will take to get there by car, and can you not suggest anything that will take longer than 40 minutes, right? And then boom, plans out my whole thing perfectly. why I should go there, what I should do, whatever. And I went further back and I said, wait, my kids hate anything that's cultural. They don't want to stare at a painting. Can you revise it to make sure that we see nothing cultural? And then spent the whole thing back again. It was like even better. So I think the moral of the story with AI is you just have to do a brain dump of like your dream thing, and then it spits back at you and be like, yeah, no problem. Right. I always think it's so funny. Whenever I'm using AI, I always write please. I don't know why. I always say please, and I always say thank you. And on some weird level, I actually think I believe this, that one day AI is going to take over and it's going to kill humanity. But maybe it's going to go back and look at anybody who was nice to it while it was using it. And it's going to say, oh, that guy Jay wrote please and thank you. He's alive. We keep him. He will be a pet. Okay. So maybe that's why I do it. I don't know, but I do that, which is really, really weird. A few things before we wrap up and get to Q&A. First off, I'm on LinkedIn. I share a ridiculous amount of nonsense on LinkedIn. Sometimes it's useful, sometimes it's a bad meme, but please connect with me on LinkedIn. I would love that. That would be awesome. I'm on Instagram now. I don't know why. I'm having an uncomfortable feeling about being there, but I'm doing it. And you could find me there on Instagram. We could follow each other and we could share nonsense and pictures of what we're eating. It'll be great. And a few other things. I do have a podcast. I'm going to throw it in the chat. I'm going to throw my podcast in the chat. It is a combination of ridiculous and I don't know what, but it's short episodes. We hit top 10 in the country out of 50,000 podcasts. A lot of people out there like hearing about reality TV, apparently, because I do talk about that. And so that's my podcast. Please check it out if you get super, super bored. A few other things. Oh, free stuff. Okay, this is sort of important because I know all you people are HubSpot people. So my company, Guru Media Hub, we put on all these events and all these webinars, all this stuff. You could see what I do at Guru Media Hub. Who cares? But we have a good relationship with the folks over at Inbound. And so they gave my company specifically a code to get 15% off for general admission tickets to Inbound this year. We only have a handful left. I asked Inbound, can I bring it up at this webinar? They said, sure. So if you still haven't bought your Inbound ticket, doesn't put $1 in my pocket, but you want to save 15%, okay? You at checkout, just pick your general admission ticket and put in Guru 24 and you'll get 15% off. And by the way, tomorrow, Inbound, if you go on Inbound's LinkedIn page, they are doing a LinkedIn Live webinar, and I'm doing it. And I would say 50% of what I'm going to share, I did not share today. So I don't know where to find that link, but you could register. It's like one of the first Inbound webinars they've ever done. So that should be kind of interesting. And that is actually tomorrow. If you want to check it out, it's free. It's whatever. Lastly, and then I will shut up and see if I have a Q&A. So my organization puts on the world's largest virtual email marketing event. It is 100% free. It is called Guru Conference. It's coming up in October. We're going to have 20,000 marketers there. It is free. It is virtual. Sarah Jessica Parker is going to be there speaking. A lot of people will be there. I'm going to be there. Okay. And if you want to register, you want to be registered for that, you want my slides. We also have a best day to send calendar, my newsletter. You want all this garbage, you could email me at jays@corpwd.com and just say, send me everything, and I will send you everything. I'm going to put my email address in the chat here too. And then that way, if you want all this garbage, you can tell me, and that's that. And with that, I will now stop sharing because we've done it. Yay. Is everyone still here?
Excellent job. You can see why I brought all that hype for Jay.
Oh,
Always delivers
I
such an
appreciate it.
amazing presentation with so many takeaways. I've been at a session at
Thanks.
Inbound and everybody looking to my left and to the right, and everybody's just like jotting down note after note, just feverishly taking notes. So
I appreciate that, man.
always fantastic. We do have a little bit of time left for
Yeah,
Q&A, so
for
please
sure.
feel free to add your questions to the Q&A section or the chat. I did see one come in earlier when you were talking about the email series,
Yeah.
and there was a question that came in if you know of a way that you can signal to the email client that an email is a part of a series. Is there something you put in the subject line that will signal that, or anything you know about any takeaways for that?
For the recipient to be able to know that it's a series, you're saying?
Yeah, for the
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And I'm glad you bring that up because I think in general, we're all like too close to what we're doing. We need to be like over the top up front so everybody's on the same team. Meaning, like, yeah, if it's a series, you want to have, I would start out your subject line and put it in brackets and say, part 1 of 4. And literally, that's how you start your subject line. And don't be afraid of using things like brackets. You do not go to the junk folder, spam folder because of special characters or because of words or symbols. So doing things like using brackets to carve out that series is an absolute no-brainer, and that's how I would do it.
Awesome.
And the question is, what do I mean by a series? I mean, let's say you have this is part 1 of 4 of tips all HR pros need to know, or part 1 of 4 or of uh, CFO's common mistakes, and then it's part 2 of 4, part 3 of 4. So you're getting people to go back and interact with old emails, stay in tune with new emails. Series format content is a win.
I had a question too. You had mentioned how marketing noise is just continuing to grow.
Yeah.
And one of the things that just seems to stand the test of time is email marketing. I mean, it's one of those things that's kind of been there since the beginning, and the ROI has always been there, where as marketers, we have to shift our approach to it. And, there's things that you mention all the time, Jay, about like what we can do for that. But do you have any thoughts on why this medium continues to just kind of stand the test of time? Do you have any theories on that or
Well, it's a
thoughts
good
on that?
question. I think that in general, we, the recipients, we own the engagement. We decide, when we want to look at something on our clock, on our time, as opposed to, going on social media, it's hit or miss. No matter what I do, I'll go on LinkedIn and I'll put the little bell next to somebody's name. I still don't know if I'm going to see their content or whatever it is. So we own this, right? And as marketers, we own that relationship too. We decide when we want to send something out to our entire database. And I think that marketers in general make a huge mistake by thinking that social media is their marketing strategy. You hear it everywhere that social media is rented
Yeah.
land, and your email database is your own land. And one of your biggest focuses of social media should be to grow your email list. If that's not like top 1 or 2 reasons you're doing your social media, then you are not doing the right thing, because you need to bring them onto your land so you can talk to them whenever you want to talk to them.
I love that. I think you're absolutely right on that. Is there any more questions in the chat, or I don't know if
Well,
I
I'll tell
missed
you,
any?
the most important topic. What do we all watch on TV? Number one, don't watch Hitman. The movie is hot garbage on Netflix right now. Somebody told me to watch it. Do not watch it.
Oh,
And I'm very excited for The Bachelorette coming out in a few weeks. That'll be great.
yeah.
And these are the important topics in humanity.
What about Married at First Sight? Are you into that?
I'm into Married at
The
First
maps,
Sight,
the
but here's the
maps.
problem: is I go back because I'm a giant loser, and I go back and I look at like the statistics on how many people like stay together, and what happens on all of these shows. So like Married at First Sight, horrible success rate, or even like Kitchen
Oh,
Nightmares. I love Kitchen Nightmares
Yeah.
with Gordon Ramsay, but if you've ever Googled how many of these restaurants stay open, he has like almost 100% closure rate, after he leaves. So I don't like investing in things that are just going to go absolutely nowhere, right? So like that's why like Bachelor in Paradise is amazing, which nobody here like watches, but I do, because their success rate is so high and they last long. So as marketers, we need to focus on the statistics of these shows.
I like that you dive deep on everything. It's not
Yeah.
just email, it's
No.
like everything.
Always.
And Jessica put that Bridgerton episodes just dropped. I'm telling
Yes.
you, if you guys have an email that you need to go out, tie it into Bridgerton. I know I'm going to be binge watching that all day today.
Yeah, Bridgerton
I'll
is
even-
good. I won't
Yeah.
lie. It's not bad. It took me a little bit to get into it because it's not reality TV, and I'm like, what is going on here? But
Right.
it is very good. I'm also going to get into The Boys because that's coming out with a new season on
Oh,
Prime,
yeah.
and I never saw the first seasons where it's like superheroes that are bad people.
Yeah.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah, my husband loves that. I can tell like that's what we're going to be binge watching the next couple evenings for sure.
Yes, I'm into Real Housewives of New Jersey right now as well, because those people make me feel better about my own life, because I'll watch them and be like, well, at least that's not me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Could be worse.
Yeah, it
That
could
is
be
the
worse.
beauty of
I could be one of
reality
them.
Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Well,
Ron, I
we'll
blame
we'll
my
make
girl-
sure. I'm sorry.
I'm just laughing at some of the comments. Ron goes,
Yeah,
I
right.
blame my girlfriend.
Yes, always blame somebody else.
Well, thank you everybody for attending. Thank you, Jay. That was a fantastic presentation.
Thank
I
you all.
laughed, I learned. It was fantastic. We'll make sure to get the slides out to everybody along with the replay of today's event.
ebook.
Yeah. And we'll make sure to send all the information. So
Yeah.
thanks, everybody, and
All right.
enjoy the rest of your day.
Hopefully, I'll see you at Inbound. Take it easy, guys.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.